That time of the year when we take a look back at some of the things that were highlights during this past year, and in the past decade everything has become about the internet.
Oh, that's a fact. Well, what actually interested South Africans in 2019 and in the 2010s? So Google has now released its most searched for hits of 2019 and the decade.
Our reporter here on Morning Live, Kirat Lalla, went on to Google, and this is what came out of that.
South Africans are very attuned to current affairs and sport. That's according to Google's trends for 2019. But the standout and the most searched for item for 2019 and the decade is...
So load shedding has been a big deal for South Africans in the last decade, and people are very, very interested in what this means and where we're going with this. What I found very interesting is the questions list for the decade. The number one question for the decade is how to make slime. And a few years ago, slime was super popular, and I see people are still interested in how to make slime.
These are some of the quirky searches for 2019.
Okay, so let's say in the last 5 years I've been doing this list, the most bizarre search I've seen is how to bath and how to kiss. Those have been interesting for me. Oh, but this year there was what is teenage pregnancy was on the list. Questions list is by far my favorite one, simply because it's so bizarre. You never know what you're going to get. So this year South Africans wanted to know why cornflakes was invented. I don't know what answer they got, but I hope it was the right one.
There were also other notable searches that piqued the interests of South Africans.
Obvious ones like Rugby World Cup, cricket. You know, South Africans are interested in sports a lot, so we see a lot of that sports stuff. It was nice to see Siya Kolisi on the list, the rugby captain, and Faf de Klerk was also on the list. What I found quite interesting with the near me searches is that things are starting, that people are interested in convenience. So rather than looking for where is this place, they're looking for parks near me because they want the options. So they don't just want a specific park, they want to see the options of parks near them. But in some cases they're just looking for, you know, a grocery store near them or a petrol station and things like that. The most searched personality was Golani Gwala, James Small, and we had a couple of other people. So a lot of people that passed away made that list as well. Politics, Boris Johnson was the most searched for politician, and then Robert Mugabe was on the list, as well as Cyril, and then we had different political parties on the politics list as well. Yeah.
There is also the question of the most watched YouTube videos and vlogs.
Google Rewind is also a list we pull for at the end of the year. So looking back, almost rewinding back on YouTube and seeing what videos people are interested in. And this year, we were pleased to see a lot more South African content surface on that. So what are South Africans watching? And this year, South Africans are watching more South Africans. But the YouTube video that was number one in the country, I think, is the Trevor Noah with Ellen DeGeneres, where he was playing the Who Would You Rather Do game. And we've seen, videos around news things that were happening. We saw videos around sports. So we had a super sports video on that list. And we had a YouTube creator on that list, Lasizwe, also made that list. So there's some really cool stuff there. And then when we look at our music list, we have like South Africans like Prince KB on that list twice, and Nasty C also on that list. So there's some good South African content on the list this year.
The influencer in the past decade has become a term to signify those who have carved out a place for themselves in the internet. I caught up with two of them.
I'm here with lifestyle influencer Siya with her blog Glow Up, and she's about to tell us what it's like being an influencer in South Africa. So Siya, an influencer, the big term, what does it mean?
Well, it means you are, I guess, a mouthpiece for certain brands depending on what you are influencing or what your platforms are about. So if it's fashion, if it's beauty, gaming, it can be anything, food, literally. So usually brands just use you as a mouthpiece to communicate their launches, to communicate the stuff that what they're about when they're introducing products. They contact you and say, please, can you review this, or can you try it out and tell us what you think? Can you tell what you're following, what you think about the product?
I'm here with Helen Harimbi, who is an influencer in the music industry, and she's about to tell us more. So Helen, the music industry, what is it like for an influencer like you?
Well, I'm more of a music journalist who happens to do some influencing, and like the great poet of our time, Bonang, said, sometimes you are influential, you're not an influencer. And I think the interesting thing about music is that you have an authentic voice, and so people trust that to tell them about South African music in an authentic way.
There you have it. Load shedding remains the #1 search for item in 2019 and the decade, showing that South Africans are concerned about the lights being on. But who knows what the next decade and the next year holds for search items in South Africa. Kirat, Lalla, SABC News.